So yeah, again, so my career started, after my fine arts graduation, I just joined animation filmmaking, and then after that, I did some of animation, uh, ads, feature film, series. It is then uh, joined a few animation studio to as a key animator. Then after that. One sec, yes. I'm on. Okay. Okay. One sec. Yes. Okay. So yeah, cool. Thanks, Arjun. Okay. So while doing this animation, traditional animation, 3D was started, in India. Started producing the shows and doing service and all this. So during the same time, game also started coming to India, and people started making games and doing the service stuff and all this. So somehow I came to know from one of my friend that they looking in one of the studio, they're looking for one a concept artist. So I was like, okay. So they look for the 2D concept artist, and so they just wanted to hire me for a few months to try out if that things work or not. After I joined that, I did few concepts for that particular project. It was from the US, and it was for the Godfather, basically, 3D game. uh, from there is a game. My game journey started in 2004, and somehow I started understanding about how this game concepts happen, and the art requirement for the game, and how the characters move around, how you can interact with them. In animation, you just to sit down and look at the the character, but in a game it's interactive. So that's drive me, okay, man, this is something I would like to try out. So then I continue from there. Then many studios, including part of Jinga, EA, Glue, Games Astra, and many other studios. So smaller and bigger scale, were part of IP and all this. So yeah, so this is journey so far. So let me take you to the my presentation, what I have prepared, because I have specialized in majorly in the character, and I'll tell you why character in this my presentation. I think I can able to express what I exactly make me to become a more character designer, and sequential illustrator or concept artist or visual development artist. Yeah, so let's let me share my screen. Yeah. So okay, so yeah, so that was sort of my intro. Okay, so the why I choose the character designing, as a my personal choice, basically. I mean, I love to do that character. Why I maximum time choose to do character than other part of game art production. So actually, I'm from a theater background. So age of 6, I started my theater career with my father, and I supposed to join the drama school, but because of some reason, I have to cancel that. So father asked me to, why don't you join? It's a art. Anyway, it's a art. Why don't you join as a visual media, visual art side? So I from the child. Very young age, I'm doing art and theater together. I used to do that. So then I decided, okay, I'll join my fine art college, and that's how it started. But always it was there in my mind, like about the theater, the acting part, and the body language, pantomime, all this. So while even drawing in the art college, when people are mostly doing the canvas painting or something, I used to sit in the crowded place like a station or a bus stops, and try to understand the guy, how like the character, how they stand, they laugh, they depress, they wait. So all the expression I try to catch. So, and same time started watching the movies and all this, and slowly I started liking few characters where like I can see that particular body language and the very minimal detailing, but they are very really powerful characters. They are like some of examples are here. Like I really like their simplicity, but they have a really power in their acting, their body language, the kind of expressions, and the small elements where like they tell everything without even telling the dialogues. Like the bad app, if you remember, this character is like just few expressions, he tell everything, every his history past in a particular few expressions. That's it. Like he's always like say no, I don't want to go there, like those sort of saying, and a Golem or Charlie or even Joker or like our Bilbo Baggins. So I really love these characters, and they are helped me to visualize, think about the silhouettes, think about the body shapes, and the kind of gesture they use. So yeah, so these are for some of from the live action films, and these are from the games and illustrations, and kind of like the heaviness in a game. They need more details in terms of like the accessories or the weapons or something like that. So it's very clear, and the silhouettes is really powerful. So these are my favorite. I really love these characters, and I learn every day from these characters, looking at them. And yeah, so I mean, honestly, these characters are, it's help like to understand the kind of character design uh, right now in the games, I mean the trend basically. And when you design the characters, you have to think about like the current trend, kind of platforms, and kind of players, why the players they like these characters very much. So these are you can study them basically. So time to time I look at these characters and try to like mimic them, their silhouettes, their designs, kind of their body language, because they don't talk in the game, but I mean they do, but mostly their postures, and the way they carry their stuff, and the way they stand, basically the kind of camera you can use. So I learn from these. So yeah, so like Ramen again. I mean that is like as an animator, I can understand why this character is so special to me, because it was so flexible animation they did, and it's really amazing. So these are the like I really love these characters. Okay, so now like what is character design? What does a designer do? So that is in these years, this is my understanding, and wherever I'm doing my stuff, like designing a character or something, why what the points and what the information I always keep in my side, and how to start designing them. It's a it's a really important to understand basically what exactly I am doing and what is the requirement. Okay, so a character designer or an artist creates the entire concept, style, artwork for a character from scratch. This often includes a deep look into the character personality, develop a visual idea of the character physical features. To create an appealing character from scratch, it requires a lot of creative energy. Thus, the process of creating this character is highly complex. Again, every artist has their own creative procedure. So keep in mind, there is no right way to create a character. So basically, lot of guys I have seen, particularly the concept artist or visual development artist or character designer, they do a lot of scribbles on their drawing pad, sketchbook. So they, like, play a character. I've seen few of my friends there too. Let's say Charlie Chaplin, they play that Charlie Chaplin movies. Movie was going on, they keep started, like, doing the sketches, try to understand what is movement, how is movement, how is stand, and all this. So that's how a lot of people do. Even I do. I prefer to do that, jumping into the final drawing, final color or something. I look at the as much as reference possible, and play a few games, and like, it's always, it's it's necessary to understand that this game or this character, people going to interact, and the million of people going to interact with them, so how they'll relate themselves with that character is very important. Sometimes what happen, there is a difference between illustration and the character design. So character design for, like, for the games, movie, even the comic book, even the illustrations, and they have so while creating for the game, it's a very you should understand, it's a very particular to have those sort of information, like, you should understand the constraint of technical constraint, like, if it is a 2D or 3D, or what game engine is going to be. So it's very important to understand those before jump into like the design. So once you understand those design, then sit down, started sketching. Actually, during that time, I would say, like, definitely go a little crazy, because I understand sometimes you are too conscious about if my shapes are looking good or not. But no worry about that, because I believe that's my experience. From many errors, I got a new design or new ideas. So that error should be there. I never use eraser but while drawing my, so better prefer to do in a pen, so you cannot erase them. So do a lot of scribble, so and do as much as you can, because I believe in a pre-production. If you invest time in a pre-production amount, good amount of time, then your production, while you're sitting for the final designing, it won't be that much difficult, or like, it won't be time taking. So the essential points, like, you should keep in mind while designing this. I mean, you should know what the character, I mean, you are designing. Basically, the personality. Let's say, like, it's a king or soldier, it's a hero or villain, it's an alien or animal. Look from the character's point of view, how they look others, right? So, like, their audience, if the animal, he's how, like, how he's looking at that forest, or let's say, if a soldier, so how he is looking at opponent, how he is going to be fight, because based on that, their body gesture and body posture are going to be similar to that. Like, they will prepare and they will pose, or they will like, anticipate, or sort of like that. So that personality is a very important. You should know, like, and also this personality will help you, like, if you are a king, so what kind of ego you have, or like, what kind of you wanted to show power, right? So the way, the kind of colors you're going to use, or kind of, like, the cloths or around in your interiors, so that will help. So and emotion. So if the character is an anger guy, or happy, or lazy, or like, just like, deadhead, sort of like that guy, he don't have an emotion. Basically, he just know where to hit and how to just kill others, right? So something like that, like, that is also a very important. Personality and emotion is a really different. So sometimes, like, I know there is a character, is like, looks really dead look, and is very powerful, but he loves the bunny. So those are small elements, like, add proper characteristic to that particular character. So it's really fun to while designing that. And the story behind the character, how the character has come to this existence, right? So where is belongs to, I mean, from where he came, basically. I mean, let's say he was a farmer, but somehow because of some situation, some bad thing happens with him, he become a warrior, like he want to take a revenge. So maybe he's our game hero. So how we will show that? Correct. So you need to show that, because it is carry with him throughout the game. He doesn't leave his past behind. He is. We are not going to show in the game, but somehow some elements, some assets with him, it will be help to establish his complete characteristic personality. Because maybe after the war, after the fight, he will still inside that farmer, right? So what he do that? Correct. Maybe in the journey he stay in the night he put the fire and put his stuff to eat, like put it in the fire, and so those, we can add him into this characteristic, and we can show there, like this guy was a farmer by heart, but because of the situation he become a warrior, or like the bad guy or something like that. So it's solidify the ground you building on. These points will help you to understand what the attire, the emotion, the body language should be put on the character. So these are really very very important. I mean, this is how I do my R&D. Like before, while doing this scribble, my scribble is keep going on. So same times, these are the things I put it in my notebook, that if I am able to capture this in my this drawing or not. So that's helped me. Then brief understanding and requirement to create. I'll tell you something, like designers or product owners or producers, while discussing about the design, they don't talk about how you're going to draw that character. They will talk about that what is the requirement, what particularly they are looking into that particular character, or not only the single character, but the bunch of guys, the bunch of characters in the game. Okay, so these things are we need to understand from them. Is like, definitely you will have when you have a GDD game design document, you will have all this information. But for us, for as an artist, for me, what I do is I particularly write down these things, put on a yellow sticker, or like notepad, where this details should be there, and I should keep taking, like whenever it's done. Okay, let's say okay, gender, she or he or whatever, it's a humanoid or hybrid, which era, I mean, it's like stone age or space age, what is in which era the game is happening, the age group, definitely live in. So this is very important. Lives in, I mean, it's a fortress or treetop. So based on that, their costumes, their design, their the shape of hands, like the body shape, also you can define that. Um, the and then appearance. I mean, some of the characters I have seen in games, like their looks super, like even in the male character, if you can, so just like a very generic face or something like that, and some of like really rigid and devilish look and all this. So yeah, so those are very important points for me. Personality, again, this guy is helpful or is like completely demon, like, he never understand who is good or bad, he just know what to, just to keep the key feature. Yes, strong or cunning, that you can show that. We can also add a bit of like hint of that attitude in that character, that will also help. Weapon, what kind of weapon he used, and based on the personality they choose their weapons most of times. So their based on their emotion also. And the action, what kind of action he do, does he fly, or does he ride the horse, or like does he just pop out in a portal, something like that. So occupation, as I mentioned, like he was a farmer before, but because of some circumstances he become a warrior. So yeah, design twist, unexpected interest of another character. So sometimes again, like the maybe devilish looking guy, he loves bunny. So That's add really interesting factor to the character. People will enjoy that, people will love that, people player will definitely relate to them sometimes. Yeah, this is very much the real world character. And intent for definitely which platform is character going to be. Sometimes what happened, like, oh, again, I know now this mobile platform is like, you can give a really nice great looking games, but there was a time when you have to too much worry about should I add details or not, because it's a low poly, or I'm going to animate in flash or something like that, how much details I can add. So those constraint was there, but now there is lot of freedom for the artists. They can explore, they can add the amount of detail and amount of information in the character, and that is a possible now. So that is a good thing for an artist. Yeah. So reference for the character. So what kind of reference you need to collect after gathering all this information? So many times what happened, like, people are just, like, okay, they need a human character. Let's say he's a bike rider, and like, uh, he just do this some stuff here and there, and he keep driving. You need to make him keep driving the bike on the money or something like that. But finding out the right reference for to create those such character is always difficult. So I prefer to gather the reference from the, like, really uh, archives. There is a photograph archives are there about everything, about everything there, like old bike racing videos, or those guys, how they, like, dress up that time, or like kind of costume they use, kind of like the helmet they use or something like that. That's one example. So finding out a reference, perfect reference, is always difficult, because I've seen many times, like, yeah, definitely we need to get inspired from the other artist or other game character, but it's very much important to try to like, create your own. One second. So for that, we definitely need that authentic, the realistic picture, where we can modify them and make it will make our character. So what happened sometimes, many times I have seen people using existing concept or characters and change bit of their stuff, and that doesn't give much difference what we already have seen. It's look like we are just replicating with the different colors. It's better to try, like, find out the original images resources, and take the latest designing tricks people are using, and try to combine that and come up with our own character. So I believe that it takes little time. You will get failed many times, but definitely it will in the end this process, you will definitely will get a better character or a new design, let's say, and people will say, like, yeah, okay, I have seen similar to this, but this is very unique looking. So that is very important. So yes, so finding out similarly, the way we find out the images references, the color is a very important. Understanding the whole game, the color palette, basically, when we're sitting with the art director while discussing with the game designer, kind of mood, kind of like the emotion they try to show through that color. You need to understand that. So that will help also to give a color to our character. And sometimes you need to, like, for example, the guy is looking like the angry guy, basically. So what kind of add amount of red color into it, warm color, basically, and it will start. No, definitely it's not a single color, but it's a many color going to be. Primarily if you add those colors, black and red, sort of those colors, it will give you like really powerful and like sort of demon guy, or evil guy or something like that. For the hero, lighter color, or a bit of bluish, hint of green. It will help the character more with the designs, with the other elements. So color also very important. So I use a lot of online color swatches tools, where like get different sort of color scheme, take that RGB value and use in while I'm designing that. The gestures. Second is the gestures. Gestures are really important while designing this character for the game, right? So again, for the gestures, mostly I look out for. We have lot of like photo references now. There's a million of photo references in every actions, including your hand gesture, including your like facial expression, jump, run, stand, the way they stand, and everything. Mm, so I try to take a screenshot a lot of from the movies, as I showed that in the first slide, the kind of character I love. So I take their screenshot, or whichever like matching with my design requirement. So I take a screenshot of them and try to sketch them, try to draw their gesture and put it in my character shape, basically. um, that helped me a lot because it's very realistic, instead of like trying out myself, without understanding how this bone structure and how this like the giving the power to the body. Uh, yeah, something like that. Props. The attire, I mean, whatever she or he is wearing is being held by the character, define its attitude. Uh, it's simply, as I said, like the personality, based on the personality you choose color. So we, even while buying clothes or toys or vehicles or whatever, based on our personality we buy stuff. uh, like so similarly, the kind of like gadget freak guys, like you can find them around, in a lot of gadgets around them. They have a lot of gadgets uh, everywhere in their room or something like that. So similarly, if the guy is like, let's say, archer or something, so bow, arrow, and bow making knives, like the lot of leather threads, so he will carry with him. And the the kind of structure he make with his tools and instruments, whatever he has, it's defined, right? It's defined his attitude. The like longer bow or the thicker bow, or is very like the Mongolian bow, or whatever it is like. So that is also define him. So you have to be very careful. If he's a lean guy, I cannot use like the heavy, thick looking bow is carrying, and arrow is something else. So it has to be very have to be balanced. It has to be belongs to him. It should looks like it belongs to him, rather than like completely different. Geographical identity, it is very important to understand, like, okay, this guy came from the Africa, or this guy came from the Korea, or like from where. So many times, even I have felt while designing the character initially, the guy was while designing for the particular location character, I failed. So then I slowly understand that, slowly I learn that why that facial feature and the body shape is defined, right? It will help. It's simple, because you cannot put I mean, like, yeah, I don't want to jump into that thing, but yeah, let's say the white place and the black guy, or black place white guy, you can tell them they belong to that. So I mean, yeah, definitely, if it is a required, it's an American black guy who is a fighter or something like that. But geographical identity also will give you the amount of information you need to draw, basically. And it will help. I mean, definitely you can tell about his history. Okay, this guy is from there, and this is how he's looking, how he ended up here, he is looking right now. There's a lot of history you can take. So okay, so yeah, so gathering all of this, information, understanding, like there are a lot of, we can go in a detail, but I'm just talking about the just a baseline to understand this, the how I work and how I scribble out basically. So yeah, so thumbnailing and collaboration with different tools. As I mentioned, like thumbnails, as much as thumbnails you do, you will get you start getting better and better designs, because uh, I remember while I working for a studio, there was a robot character. For that particular robot character in a symmetric, I did around 60 to 70 thumbnails to just get approval that silhouette is looking good from my art director. It was really painful that time, but slowly I understand the value uh, and the benefits we are going to get from the thumbnailing, because without hesitation you will just start thumbnailing, right? You will just maybe silhouette or maybe pencil sketches or thumbnails. You are not too worried about the technicality, you are not too worried about the like details, you are too worried about the that are looking good or bad. So as I mentioned, from many errors we get a really nice design come out, or we get a better design, right? So thumbnailing is really really important, I would say. Like even a lot of my friends in with whom I have worked, they do lot of thumbnails before that, even if they're designing a simple monkey character. I have seen them, like, and we also had a lot of time, like, sitting together, discussing about that silhouettes and thumbnails, and we did lot, and in the end, we got really unexpectedly a beautiful, great character. Similarly, now things have changed, so you can. We are just not a concept artist or character design anymore. We are more into like trying out different methodology and trying out different way, different process to get a better design. Right? There is no like particular line that you have to draw in a sketchbook, then you scan them or digitize them or do the coloring. Recently people started using, not recently, a lot of guys they do that, doing that, like using 3D base, and give a rough pose and take a screenshot and draw top of that. you know it's it's definitely helped lot of time, and you will also get a better idea, if it is a 3D game, how your characters going to look like in that volume basically. And it will also help you to prototype sometimes, just do very rough color patches or something like that, a bit of designing, and you can take into the, like nowadays, like in a lot of engine you can experiment that, so that will also help, and it will save a lot of time, and it will give you more ideas, more once you try out these things, it will go push you more into next level. So next level to yeah, find out more possibilities of a new design. So yeah, I mean, a person to person, again, like how they look at the stuff, how they uh, create the characters, and a lot of guys, like I know, they even use that direct Photoshop coloring with flat brush, and they do amazing designs. But yeah, again, this is my process, and I found like really it's a helpful, and I mean definitely it helped me a lot so far, whatever the character I have created. Again, the prototyping and layout. While in the game development, in many studio wherever I work, and we have tried many tricks, tried many tricks to find out if the character is working perfectly in that camera, in that world, if the shapes are bigger, I mean, going along with the the camera point of view. If the shoulder is looking bigger, or can we make it more tall, so that with the props it doesn't, like, just dissolve with the background or the props. um, those are really help. That is what I have tried. I have tried with like making on a flash, particularly in flash, this thing, making him just move character here and there with the basic shape of objects around it. Or in 3D now you can do it in Unity very easily. So that is also like the scaling and the visibilities of character. You should know, like, how tiny it's going to look or how big. So those are also going to help you to while designing this character. It's not like you draw a character, put a color, nice highlights on it, nice texture you gave, but if doesn't going to, you can't see that, then what is the point? So you need to understand what is the requirement, what is the amount of detail requirement in this camera. Does it require the too much details in his like belt or waist, or chest pad or something like that, or a weapon? So you need to understand. So it's better to have fun around it. I mean, it's helps. Simply, it's help a lot. Like, you won't feel like in the end that you are not, you didn't waste your time, because as an artist, we love to add colors, details. We love to, like, see the tiny stuff, but that is usable or not, that is to understand. That is a very important, because in a game, I like many times I did when I start this character design. uh, I added a lot of things, but in the game you cannot see that and get jitter or flicker even. So that is also help while you design. You should have a bolt, and if it is like very tiny characters, better to understand, work on the shapes and silhouettes more than the worrying about too much detail. And yeah, so that is also like really help. And plan out the layout, the area is going to run, or is going to fight. So even these we cannot ignore these details, because we should not end it off with like wasting our the time we spend on the creating this. It should be usable, right? So for that, you have to be very conscious, and have to be very like respect your time, whatever time you are investing that. So if you have enough information, and you have that checklist, okay, these are the things I need to put it in my mind while designing, then you are not going away from the, or getting distraction from the main track. I mean, the kind of the design requirement. So sometimes even what happened with me, so many times, like, designer said it doesn't look right. I said, why? I did beautiful art. No, but it's not about the beautiful art, it's about the story of the game. It is the character is carrying or not, and the requirement. It's a very, very, very important. So yeah. And while designing all these things, doing a final design, model sheet or documentation is very, very important. Because what happened, like, let's say I'm a 2D artist, I'm a character designer, and this character going to be modeled in the 3D, and I just done one frontal sketch, like the guy is just standing and with his weapon. But what is the information is a backside or behind his body, where he keep his this sword, or where he keep his helmet, or where he keep his assets. Does he have any backpack or something like that? Or if he's a like like that the character I design here, Temple Garden. So where this sword he carry always, or he keep it somewhere. Okay, so those information has to be there while providing the to the 3D artist, like, let's say, model sheet. Give those elements which are like really very crucial to model, and very important in the design. So 3D artists, what they does, what they just look at the stuff, like, okay, that looks like that, they will do, but the functionality, when he moves the hand, and which part is going to be visible, maybe the back of arm or elbow, you can see that. So if you give the enough information about your design and body, so it will help them to build a nice more detail, and the way you design the character, right? So, and it should not be ended off like, okay, I design my illustration is looking really nice, but this 3D model doesn't look similar to this. Because if you give enough information, a functionality, mechanism of the body, action sketches, color palettes, textures files, they will create, they'll try to create as much as closer to your design, right? And give little space, give little room to over that to the 3D creative guys. They're also an artist. What they will do, they'll take your art form, and they will push you little further forward. Okay, so what happened while doing the 2D, we are just, like, we put the graph, we put the circle and do all this stuff, but still it's a 2D. So once they translate this one to into 3D, so once they rotate that body shape, the elements and the detail is going to look bit of different, correct? So for that, they will take the creative guys, the 3D guys, they will take little further. They will make more logical approach to give more logical approach to that your design. So you have to leave little space, you have to leave little room for them to explore. It's not like, whatever design I have done, that is the final, you have to do each and every pixel. No, we need to give like little freedom. Okay, I have this, but I did it in 2D, but I don't know how it is going to like work in the 3D. Can you help me out? Can we sit down together and do it? That's how we all do, we all work. And gladly, like nowadays 3D artists are more, like experimental this thing, so they take a lot of other tools, zebras, like many other 3D tools, blender, something like that, and they try to experiment with that. So that helps, and in the end, your design will be like really like going to look live, the way you thought of, the way you planned, the way you documented them. So that is really helpful. It's not a single art will going to definitely it's not going to work, because uh, in the end, we need a good looking character. So whatever needed, whatever help, like even 3D artists need it, just sit down with them, explain them how this, like if he has a ponytail, how he's going to animate that, what you have in your mind, how heavy or thick that ponytail is. So you can sit with them and you can tell them to, like model in that way, or with an animator or a texture artist, or lighting guy even, add this sort of color lighting little to this guy, so that this guy look more powerful. Okay, so yeah, so this is that sort of research I do. I mean, I try to squeeze into this short time frame, that like explaining every topic. It will take a lot of discussion, and so yeah, so I did so a quick quick sketch I did yesterday, to, like the kind of experiment I do. So, and kind of sketches I do. Like how I jump to my final color things, and what is the rough, and what is the final illustration. I haven't done that final illustration. So, okay. Yeah. Just a second. So yeah, so thought of a character, like as an archer character, basically, as a futuristic character, but he's keep traveling from centuries, from the, let's say, it's been few centuries. I don't know how he's traveling. It's a like weird design I did, and because I know that design, whenever the designer come up, like I've seen their requirement was like quite interesting, at the same time it was challenging. So I thought like why can't I like history and future, let's collaborate together and let's see if it is work. So this is the one, in a day I just scribble out few, and based on one of my old sketches, I think one of my friend definitely will remember this. So so I found that it was there lying down from last few years. So I thought, why can't similar to this I can do a design. And based on that I started looking at the references, like collecting references, a kind of, like the arm, or like the what kind of mechanism they have, like, and kind of guy, basically the what is the age group, and yeah, so this bow, how this work, and this line of characters, I really like their shapes, the way lighting, the very simple designs, I mean, but they're really powerful and my favorite characters. And took a basically one of India's famous painters artwork for the color palette. And definitely I keep always this anatomical figure with me always, so that I can sort of go out with my proportions, and the kind of line flow people do, and the kind of color gradation they use. And it's not less necessary that if you are designing a heavy looking guy character, you should look at all the heavy these things. If you want to add little twist to in it, then you have to look at also like the similar, this kind of references. Let's keep it always in the side, so that you maybe use some sweetness to it. Yeah, so there's a body shape, the suit, how this like metal or something like that kind of texture they use. So yeah, and yeah, so then I started scribbling out these. So again, I mean, it was very quick. So I didn't actually experiment a lot in this because of the time constraint and the kind of work right now I'm doing. So, but again, I mean, even if it is a small assignment, I treat like the way I work with my other characters. So, doing these scribbles, sketches, it just help me. I just like get the nice shape. Basically, this one is like typically for me. Uh, a proper body shape, the one I was looking for. So it gave me nice silhouette to add the details into it, and whenever like it stand, it's give his personality, and the way he's give his basically history, the character basically. He's an archer, he's a powerful, and it's typically like have a bit of knight elements in his body, like the shoulder pad, or the like kind of globes he used, because I thought of adding bit of Robin Hood, this thing. It's a mixed match. I mean, it's nothing particular about like this character is completely for like that game or something like that. But yeah, I try to like create a better story with character with a story, rather than like just nice illustration. So yeah, so I really like that. So I took this silhouette and try out exploring more, check out the symmetry basically, and the kind of uh, V shape he has in body. because he's a archer guy, so I treat him like it's an arrow. Basically, his body, like, so arrow shape, giving a bit of arrow shape into it. So as a pointed, like pointed head. So something like this. This was my initial idea. Whenever he stand, it should look like that. Even if, like, nice pointed arrow. Yeah. So this, I mean, it's very quickly I try to see if the character looking, like giving that story in every pose or every gesture or not. So I did a bit of that experiment and thought of like using the futuristic character instead of having the, like, what is that? You keep the arrow, this thing, right? So what I did, I gave him a nice gadget where he just like Assassin's Creed. So it was very like the automatic knife come, but here is I treat him a different way. So he'll just do some mechanism in his hand so that the arrows from here it will come to his hand and straightforward he will just like shoot this. So a bit of effect and something like that. So instead of every time he's pulling out from his arrow this thing. So yeah. So and kind of like giving him some sort of like capsule or something like that. Like you have this for the gun, for bullets we have the bunch of what you call, I don't remember right now. So instead of that, these are the capsule refill. He's going to refill his like hand here, and it's keep giving you arrow whenever you want. Once you press that button, maybe that button is here, something like that. So yeah, and mostly keeping the right side always like more mechanical, and the left one is more like historical looking, like like leather pad, shoulder pad, leather gloves, leather gloves, and kind of like the soldier basically, right? So leather pad he used around it his body, but still having his like futuristic technological stuff with him, using this sort of glasses to get like his target. It will work like that the sniper gun we use, right? That I don't remember right now. So yeah, those sort of stuff. So yeah, mostly these are very leather stuff I use. Okay. Then after that, I started. So took this design, and I started doing like the flat coloring of this character. Like uh, giving him a nice color palette about this, giving him kind of very natural guy with a very with the nature basically. He's hiding himself in a forest or maybe in the mountain range somewhere he stay, and kind of giving a military texture to his cloth. um, but he's official. He's not non-official guy. He's a very official character. He was maybe the guardian for that particular area, wherever his race they stay. Um, and the same times I just like keep all his futuristic stuff, like the as I mentioned, like the capsules or the that laser arrow this thing. It just like dividing, basically is dividing character into this or two side. If you look at like the right side is a complete mechanical futuristic, and I guess I'll show you once. So mostly, yeah. So this is something like like mostly left side is more like very traditional. Robin Hood, the way Robin Hood used that leather pads, leather stuff, and all this. I mean, 60-70%, and here is like completely futuristic. nothing, like traditional much. It is there, but it's not much. And yeah, so I started this character, like, 1 second. I usually start with my shapes. 1 sec. Yeah. So yeah. So while doing this scribbling and doing these thumbnails, doing this research basically for this character, a lot of silhouette drawings I do, either a symmetric one or in the pose, right? So I mean, definitely we do, like, let's say, not only this only one standing pose, maybe this guy is shooting, right? Whatever it is, like something like that, keep trying. I mean, just I'm doing very really roughly. Give him. Yeah, so this sort of scribbles I do a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I never too worried about that, doing while doing these thumbnails. Never too worried about if it is, like how the legs are looking, and if it is a hand is thin or thick. But it's giving me that silhouette or not, because for me, this part is always visible, the character always visible. So hand and this body shape is always visible. For me, it's a very important, this part is. So I always, whenever I design, I just see if it is giving me perfect the way I want to design this character and his body. It is giving enough information about that particular character or not, right? So yeah, so I keep exploring those while I design my characters. And does he stands, like, while like shooting his arrow, or he's really leaning down? So because of the, like, to understand the kind of power he has, does it require as too much bend or lean, or does it just stand and we do his stuff? So those things I scribble while designing this character. So I, like, I always do concern about the silhouette. It is looking, the character is giving. So, and also I see if that scale is working correctly or not in the both the size, right? So I mean, even if it is a small, it doesn't lose these details in his body. And I'm still getting that enough information about the character. I'm looking in the bigger and even in the smaller this thing. So yeah, so I start with my silhouettes and started putting like details to it, layer by layer. I use lot of symbols basically, but it depends. Sometimes I just go and scribble crazily without any, defining the layers or something like that. So that, but many times I do, because you can come back to that particular layer and change your colors. let's say I don't like these colors, I wanted to go ahead with different color scheme, the color palette I have chosen. So I can, like, manually do that. And again, this is rough concept, this is not the final render or for character illustration. This is just for me and for whole entire team to discuss on this, sit down and discussion from the every angle. If it is, the color is going along with the kind of idea, the story we have, or we the material, does it going well with him or not. It's very weird to use leather and the black metal together. But yeah, I mean, we need to try out, we need to experiment, we need to like see how it is working. Unless until we don't see, we cannot say that this is going to work fine, going to work correctly or not. So it's very important to get failed many times, it doesn't matter. But I don't feel like feel bad about it, because um, I love to hear the, negative feedback from my team. Even I told them, like, don't hesitate to, if you see anything wrong in this, because then I can learn and I can change that thing, whatever required I'll add that. So yeah, so then I started putting on the character very rough patches, getting worried too much about like every details. And then later on, definitely I know I'm going to do this rendering or the mood board or chart later on. So initially I was not too concerned. I mean, how it is looking, on if it is giving me enough information or not, if it is that giving that story is there or not. So that is the important thing, rather than uh, yeah. So yes, and oh, sorry, yeah. So many things, I mean, not yet the light, I haven't worked on the light yet, I haven't worked on the like the effects yet. I just added few stuff, if it is, like working or not, so that I can jump into the different color palette, or the different approach. Maybe I can use the real time textures instead of these. Maybe I can work out on getting the real texture materials, or maybe a different brush or something like that. So, like, let's say for this hand, I definitely going to sit down and plan out a few more designs, few more approach, because initial my thought was there, whenever he's, like, push that button or press that button here or somewhere, this thing's going to be deactivated, and the arrow will come out from his behind, from the palm inside that this device. So I need to try out few more. I mean, definitely. I mean, this is not my final idea again, but to start with, I got a really nice, like, approach. I really like this shape, whatever I got. So, and the kind of elements I have used, I'm really happy with this. But again, I need to make it more the logic to it. I mean, definitely it's a creative field, so we have that, we can take that liberty. We can cheat and we can tweak bit to make it more promising than the complete logistic. Like, no, this guy should not use this thing, and futuristic and natural element together. Maybe this effect and all this. So yeah, I mean, and adding while while doing this design, like, I just thought of like giving that arrow sign or this symbol. So where how much I can use in this particular character, like as I mentioned, this guy is like in the silhouette, this guy is like typically it's a very pointed, uh, like an arrow basically. Not exactly the kind of this arrow, but yeah, that shape is very much like arrow. But not only that shape, also how I can use more elements to it. So I use this in a lot of pattern basically wherever possible. I just use that logo, maybe something like that. I mean, he's belong to particular race, right? He's belong to particular region, maybe a particular team or a particular kingdom or whatever it is, or platoon or whatever you can say. So that should have something like this, some their master in that, and this guy is particular in that, and they have some sort of number or something like that. Maybe the that we can, I thought of like that, and adding arrow possibly wherever I can fit, like fit into it. So I added. So yeah, and then basically I haven't. I'm still try to find out if, I mean, if this guy is in a stay in the forest, does he require too much light, or does his, and I can keep him like little, like in the dark shaded mode, bit of something like this. So, and instead of giving too much light, because to his body, maybe is the main particular area, uh, I can give importance rather than everything. So even that's why I didn't add too much glow into it. So other assets, whatever I have, is I have his body. Give him a bit of lighting information, a kind of shoe he used, and I didn't give much attention honestly to this particular the lower part of the body. So mostly I concentrate on because the appearance and the function majorly. So this three part is important for me, because maybe he's running or jumping or what, you can see only hand work and the way he looks. So for me, this three part is important, and that's why I gave enough time and enough lights and enough detail to this, rather than like this is for me. This is like a dead zone basically. It doesn't matter. I mean, but yeah, definitely it's not go out with, from the story. It has to be there. It's not like keeping him like nice military boot, but it's a Korean military boot, maybe. No. So I have to careful with that. And using always in a game like this sort of futuristic character game, wherever this giving a bit of effects, it's always nice. It's I mean, uh, it's help the character in many way. So design itself is not a going to cover everything in a game. Designs, animation, effects, the position in the game, the space he taking in the screen. So that is also include lot of. It's going to include lot of like power to the character. So if it is like completely character based game, or like protagonist, or maybe something like that. So yeah, so I did this, and I mean, there's plenty of stuff to explore in this, but it's good to have this sort of initial exploration like this, like 1 hour coloring sketch. Uh, just added few strokes here and there, and see if it is giving me enough to start my exploration. Top of this, not base, basically. More on this. Should I do I need the green cloth, or do I need this honeybee pattern on the cloth or not? Do I require to have this shoulder pad, have this metal, or can I use that again that leather bit of brownish yellows leather pad, giving only two hand. Like, let's say this guy is a rigid guy, he don't want to adopt this new technology, new feature or new futuristic weapon, but somehow he have to adopt it because there is no other way to live in this earth. So maybe that's why he choose to only use minimal minimal like gadget stuff, and maximum keeping him maximum. He's like the way he was basically. He's from which area he belongs to. Like in many games I have seen the characters carry his maybe like his family son toys or his daughter's scarf, giving him like they don't want to go out from their old story, their past. They want to stick into it. um, so yeah, so maybe I can like think about it, having a teeny tiny ponytail might be like help him to animate, giving him while he's running. So maybe this one is like giving a little follow through into it, so I can see that nice animation. So giving little, as I said, I like a modeler. Also, I have to give little room to animator and effects artist to play around with it. So they have this. They know they should have something to work on this. It's not generally just making this character running here and there, just throwing the arrow. Does he have anything else that once he settle down and jump into some place, how the secondary animation, if follow with him, giving him little nice flow in the the movement. So they will really animate very creatively. They do all this stuff. Even if effects guy, definitely they will add little sparkles or maybe some sort of sparking whenever this get activated. This is also like like the they have some sort of button where he press, then this laser thing will get activated, and he can use that like as a thread or whatever. Does this arrow is invisible once it hit the player? This does this got dissolve or is stay in his body? So I remember back in sometimes back there is an Hindi film, it's called Pushpak. In that film, the villain guy, the character Tinu Anand, a lot of people must know, he used ice knife so that there is no trace once he killed that knife enter into the body and the ice got dissolved, and there won't be any trace. So similarly, I don't know, I mean, thoughts came to my mind. It may not be a material into it, maybe a something that like I think laser or some material from the space they are using, that once it enter it bodies got dissolved, or do something with that character, maybe like just vapor him or something like that. So yeah, those sort of crazy idea came to my mind. I mean, I don't want to stop myself. It is okay even if it doesn't work. Even it is okay if the designer say, "As look, it doesn't look the way we thought of our game character." But as an artist, I can explore. Like I can give them options. Okay, so can we make this character instead of like using the bow, can we do only with the hand? Is there any functionality can I add, and it's just like throw itself from the down of his palm basically. As an artist, that is my job to give option and give little help to visualize them. They. I mean, basically, yeah. When you work on the development, you should not just treat I should not just treat myself as just an artist. I wanted to be a part of this, and I wanted to see this character not only doing like jump here and there and kill and go. Is there any way I can add this character doing a bit of like once he hit the target, he do some sort of like gesture, I need to do those sketches so that like I can tell them, I can tell the uh, designer like this is what I'm thinking. It's going to definitely add more character to this person basically, and give like what is that movie? Um, I just forgot like that character. He was like play with a lot of bloods and chopping here, but he's do a lot of fun comedy. So yeah, Deadpool. Sorry, yeah, Deadpool. I never found that guy, like no sad. He's like that's a really nice character. So those sort of that's add that sort of add more interesting factor to the character, and people started loving it. So once people get able to collaborate with that, relate with that character, then definitely they will play the game more longer. They don't just only love the game, they also love the character. I mean, I've seen many people use that character screenshot in their desktop. Most of the gamer they don't put just only the environment or something like that, but the character. So character play a bigger role. Developing a character for a game, not only the game, but giving a new birth to a new, I mean, human life or whatever it is. It's not a small thing. It's not just an illustration, or just it's not just an a like a sketch or something like that. You have to be more liable. I mean, think about Santa Claus. I mean, he was not. It wasn't there, but somehow it's everybody knows Santa Claus. Who is Santa Claus? So it's not a simple design. Even there's a lot of thought process, a lot of story behind it. You can still see the old guy. Even you can never see the young guy. Why that old guy is there? Why that white beard is always so? Like those sort. I mean, he always why he always drink and like always on the high. So these are the small elements we can add into the character and see in the different possible situation. Put it in a create an environment, rough environment, put it there, see the what is the contrast between the character and the background. um, does his atmospheric light, does he how smoothly is blending, because I don't want to in this like guy look too yellowish forehead, and like the is in a inside the forest. It's going to look like a LED light burning from there. So yeah, so I need to experiment that. I need to try out that, and yeah, I mean, lot of uh, like experiment needed, and it's really good to have a discussion. I mean, whenever I do this sort of character, I just call my even a programmer. I mean, they are not artistic background, they don't have much knowledge about this, but they have a good eye actually, because like they're really great critics. So they will say simply, in first look, they will say like, it's looking good or not. I don't call testers because they play a million of games. And what is happening sometimes, the character, whatever I've seen they have, the way I'm design character, because I have a hangover, my character I have seen, right? Similarly, they have seen a lot of game characters, and they can, like look at in that perspective. So instead of that, so to some people, so who are like definitely have like looking at the first time, and they will say yes, it's looking good or it's looking ugly, or I don't understand what is that guy is, what is going to do and all this. Okay, so I take notes and do that my like uh, experiment changes on this. So yeah, so that is all about that my process tips and tricks. And again, every artist they have their own way to create the character, like there are few guys and they do really quick because of their amount of practice they did in their free times, various varieties of stuff they practice. It's not about like the face, but somehow sometimes they want to the designer or the game producer will ask, can you make that guy head is look like apple? So we should know what is that apple design and how to implement, like both of them together. So yeah, combine them together and give him that look, what that designer or artist, the producer is looking out. It's a challenging job. I remember like many times we get keep failing. Like they don't they don't allow in the first. So, but somehow we have to make them believe that this is what it should going to look like, unless until we give them enough information rather than the one sketch, and give them in many situation conditional sketches, like in this condition this character going to look like this, if you win or lose or fall down or got hit and or got into argument or whatever, we need to show them that, then only they will try relate like what is going on. So yeah. So okay. So yeah, this is what I have did for this presentation. Thought of to share with you guys. This is like quick stuff, but yeah, I mean, happy to. I can still explore, do more exploration on these. Now I have that gray body with armor and all this. It looks good. I mean, nice, but have to work on little value part. So I thought of like, why can't you use, like everything is a grayscale, black and white color scheme, maybe little of blues or something like that, and giving arrow a color and bow this thing color. So I was sort of like, why can't I try that on the face? Can see color, and there is mohawk hairstyle. I can add maybe a purple color or something like that. So yeah, the high contrast house guy is looking like that. You know what? I added one tiny this thing. I mean, I don't know if it is my designer is going to say yes or no. But as a futuristic, the oxygen level is so quality also by. So this is something a little looks like a nose ring at this moment, but this is I have seen in some film there is a capsule you should put inside that nose ring, sort of looking like that, and is filter the oxygens, and you can inhale the pure oxygen, and that's how you can survive. But it looks like a nose ring. I mean, typical what we put in the buffalo. Maybe I can give him a nice little more uh, this sort of design, so that like instead of this I can maybe let's say like, so yeah, something like this. So, yeah. So yeah, so maybe something like that I can try out more with this effect. uh, let's see, there is like plenty of things to, like Ajay, if you are Ajay working as a team like two three guys together to creating one character, maybe you can just give this character to the other artist and tell them like, let's see what is your approach going to be, what you think like we can change or we can modify. So we are really good like giving critic, so that is also the nice way to work, basically collaboration. So I can try out such things. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So one second. Yes. So okay. So now I have few questions here. Vivek Gupta is like, can we make good art from mouse? Yeah. One second. Where is that? Uh, yeah. 1 second. Uh, camera on, camera on. Okay. Okay. 1 second. Suppression. Got it. Yes. So this, yeah, question and okay. So I'm trying to help myself with this. Okay. So yeah, so Vivek Gupta, so an hour ago, he asked, "Can we make good art from mouse?" When we started digital art, there is like very few digital tablets around it, so we didn't. Uh, so fortunate to get those. So we did, yes, we did. But again, it's bit of time consuming, and people like they find out they invented their own way to use yeah, the mouse and like I use a lot of lasso tool to select on the mouse and fill the color, and that's how it works and help. Yes, you can do it, but I mean it depends. Kind of rendering I'm doing for my character. I'm sorry, yes, you won't get that sort of freedom, but yes, you can. I mean, a lot of people in Illustrator, you won't believe like Illustrator people do character designs, and Flash also like on a vector this thing where you need just a pen tool to do it. Okay, so from where we can find reference image according to our mind. There are plenty. I mean, Google is there and Pinterest. Devon at their photo session is photo Flickr. It's everywhere now. It's everywhere. There is no particular one website. I would suggest there might be, but like for the human figure, I go to a different photography section. For the world, I go to that National Geographic site or something like that. It depends what kind of image you are looking for and where you can get them. So that is again one great artist. I came across one of video tutorial. He said, "Don't find the people who already did. Don't like created those characters. Don't refer to them. From where they get the reference, find out that. So that is helpful, because or else you are just replicating the same thing whatever he done. If he done good or bad, you are just repeating the same. So you have to be very particular about that. Any recommended course for character design? There are. I mean, I from sometimes, quite sometimes, I'm not following any course or something like that, but it definitely should be there. Right now, I'm sorry. I don't know. I think. One sec. I think I can recommend it one, but yeah, but I would prefer like looking at the games, the making of that game, the art director notes, like that helps. So I followed mostly that, but it's been quite some time. So I don't know exactly the which course you should go ahead with. I can't recommend that. I'm sorry for that. Where do you take inspiration from for our characters? Where do we take inspiration from our characters? Again, I can tell you about mine, where I get inspiration. But I so like in the first slide I showed you, right, many from the many live action film or many animation films. I started my career from there. So for me, whenever I need to do something, I go back and look at those stuff. Yeah. And many games like you can uh, take reference. I mean, for the from the person actually. One of the game back in 2010 we did for Sony. We took our designers feature, game designer feature to we make the protagonist basically the main character. How to create different types of faces? Again, so I'll tell you the simple trick. Like I don't want to take you the too technical or that medical language. to give you the bone structure and do all this. Um, but I prefer very quick thumbnails and the gray and black and gray scale. You can play around with it and make the basically faces is of shape rather than the inside detail. So shape, if you get the different shapes, based on that the proportion of the eyes and the nose, you can play around with that and try to make one take copy of that and increase the scale size of inside the feature and maybe the shape of the overall face. So that will help, I mean, definitely. How many days it took to create this archer? I mean, definitely, as I said yesterday, I just sat down for a presentation, middle of the something, releasing our game. So I did in a 1 day. Yeah. You had made a archer and I just said how many archers like this need to make archers running animation. How many archers like this need to make archers animation? I mean, uh, I mean, if it is a 2D, definitely number of frames, but I don't understand exactly what you are asking, Omina Fanindra. So if you can break down that and give you little more details, I maybe answer you. What process do you different art style? How do you keep the art style unique and fresh? Yes, that's a really nice question, actually. Yeah. Um, uh, uh, you remember there is like annually, I don't want to name it, but annually there is a lot of events going on the internet. I mean, just you need to use that only ink to create sketches. You need to do that watercolor month or something like that. Actually, that helps as an artist. That's helped me a lot. I know I'm going to do that digitally. Create that character digitally, but the understanding of the color, understanding about the texture, understanding about the lighting, that I learned from the traditional media. I personally, my friends, I know we are like sit down in the every Friday after work, every Friday 1 hour or half an hour we do practice. We try to continue that, but because of work constant we cannot. But I always try to find out through my traditional approach. I do acrylic, I do watercolor, I do charcoals, all this. So I take take techniques from there. And the art style, definitely, as I said, I experiment with various shapes and various approach of coloring, various approach of giving contemporary look. Basically, is it okay if I play around with one eye and like those? You need to practice. You have to mad about it. You have to go crazy. As I said, from the every error you will learn a new thing. So never stop, never worry about error. Do it because nobody going to punish you. So from there, actually, different kind of art style I explore, and I definitely learn from the master, from the industries. They are like the kind of game I see and the kind of animation films and the live action films. So I get like those art style. Uh, I create those sort of stuff. How do you keep the art style unique and fresh? Yeah, I mean, like fresh means people need to see the new things every day. So help them. I mean, what best we can do, everything is done already. So what new things we can do that people can like see that say that, yeah, this is something unique design, or this is something the new look. So the way we do it with ourselves, why can't we do with our character or art? Okay. So Anupam Hamrom. Okay, sir, how do you deal with creative block? Yes. So that is every artist they have, and they go through this phase. I mean, nobody can say that, can't say that they never had a creative block. So whenever you have the block, I just don't. I mean, don't do anything. I just watch movies related movies. I mean, let's say I'm doing a character for something. So if I don't want to do that drawing today, I got the block. I'm not able to understand. So I'll watch those sort of movies. So like I remember looking at, I was completely blocked while designing a character, and immediately saw that Guy Ritchie movie. I don't exactly. The guy who pull out sword from the stone, actually. So yeah, and after 9 9 9:30 evening, I just go back to my system, switch on my Cintiq, and started drawing that, because it's supposed you the blocker, it's a clear that. So if you don't draw, don't feel that you got a block, you can't draw anymore, you don't understand what need to be done again. So look at the others, what they're doing. I mean, get inspired from them. I'm not saying copy them, but look at those people. I listen to a lot of video tutorials. People talk about their art, or there is a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of YouTube channel. I just listen to them. I don't, like follow their step by step tutorials, but I take whatever I want from them, and then it will fire you inside. Then you will go back to your work. Blocker will go away. It is okay. Madhukar, is very difficult to please everyone as an artist. How do you decide the suggestion to incorporate from the feedback? Yeah. So the feedback is come because the idea, whatever you are presenting, it is not a clear. Is enough to like answer their confusion. So they will keep asking. Actually, when they keep asking the question, point, take notes, and that is a really help. And sometimes feedback and critics, I love them. I mean, those are the people who will shake you from the inside. And yeah, it's hard. It's there is no theory for that. You can like tell them like this is how you can please everyone. But yeah, you try your best. As stick with the idea, stick with the story, stick with the requirement. And top of that, if the people ask, I mean, definitely, you don't blame yourself like a failure. Maybe they didn't get not able to take that or understand that. So yeah, so I think if you're talking about the viewer, but once you are working in the team, you have to listen to everyone, and everybody has to be involved in that product, and then you can like help them, you can explain them more. And if you are explaining about your visuals, that means you are failed. So your visual has to explain everything. So yeah, so feedback, definitely, I mean, you can address them, but if it is not the part of the requirement or part of the requirement, you can always like tell them this is not exactly should be, and how they should look at in what point of view, in what stages are your art in, and how you can like tell them like uh, give some more time to understand, make it better way so that he can understand. And player is not only one, there is player is a million. So never worried about one person's feedback. Maybe that person is not able to get it, but you should help him. As an artist, our job, my visual has to be speak rather than the telling the dialogue has to be speak. So yeah. Jagdish, amazing presentation, great work. Done. Thank you. Can you talk about anatomy for creating the characters? Sudarshan Uttara Suryan. Okay, so like in my one of my presentation, if you've seen that, there is a three character was there, 3D model was there, and they were like like three different shapes basically. One is very simple cuts, like giving just only the shape. Another is like muscle system, and one more is like with the skin and detailed texture. So I take reference from them, but learning the anatomy, at least understanding the bone structure, it's helped a lot while creating the character. And muscles, once you understand the bone structure, then learn that muscle system, how it is work. uh, Once that bones and muscle done, then just the skin. Okay, skin is just a color or texture or something like that, but bone, understanding the bone is a very important than the muscles. A lot of people do the reverse way, they draw the muscles, but they don't know how the bones work. Once if the hand fold from the elbow, how that muscle system is going to work. So because what is the distance of the bone, and they just keep drawing on that muscles without understanding the bone or rig, particularly if I technical word if I use for the artist. So that is a wrong way. It will keep you put in a trouble that losing the proper anatomy. So for the character is really very important to understand at least the joint and like the bone structure. Okay. Can you talk about idea generation with the characters? Like how do you generate ideas for specific character while creating a concept? Can you talk about idea generation? Yes, I'll give you an example. Back in my animation days, we usually travel from our studio to our hostel. It was like around 10 to 12, 14 kilometer. And so our boss, like start around 6:30, 6:30 exactly, and we reach our hostel by 8. So we had people in our group, we had a sketchbook. So instead of sitting idle, we sent you will draw us random drawing and hand it over to the second guy. Based on that, he will create another. Okay, so for like supporting taking that drawings, whatever the past guy did, you have to make it a relative design. So that's how like in the end of the month, we saw like there are few nice character, nice illustration came out. Generating idea you may get from the even the music, like even from the any situations. I basically as a game character artist, character designer, we get it mostly from the game designer, but adding this sort of the details what I explained in the earlier my presentation, that will help actually. Yeah, and generating ideas like discussion while we sitting out with the team, people will start throwing the random ideas and take some of create new characters lifestyle basically, and give him a birth, so something like that. Yeah. What are good and free software to get started with digital art? What your recommended? Isa Kapoor. Uh, See, now I don't know about the free software, but yes, whenever I use lot of like demo version, but I prefer I'm doing with Adobe, so uh, I'm doing that. So I honestly I can't, I don't know actually, so can't answer that. How to practice drawing character in different perspective? Yes, I mean, yeah, it's a very simple. Put a box, draw a box first in every angle, put the character inside it. It's very simple and it's very interesting and it's very fun to do that. So the how to draw the box in the perspective, right? Once you learn understand that, put the character inside, do that sketch. So it's easy. There are plenty of these tutorials in basically in the internet you can find. So follow that. That is amazing actually, to understand character in every angle. As a character designer, that is really must. You should understand that in every angle how it looks. Okay, a lot character have a special design feature in concept art, but when trying to fit in this key feature in the actual characters, goes missing into retro pixel style. What to do if this occurs? A lot of character have special design feature in concept art, but when trying to fit the key feature in the actual character, goes missing. Yes, again, the visibility and scaling. It's a question from Nilohit Roy. So that is again the scaling and the visibilities of the character in that game. So you have to understand that. You have to give importance to that particular element or asset. Then it won't go basically. As I said, like it's not get pixelated. It's not get it should not get create the jitter. So amount of proper visibility scale, if you keep it without adding too much detail and too much flat color, that will help. Nirmal Kondoja, hey buddy. What is your approach to tips of adding variation with unique personality group of characters of science fiction? Example, a team of archers you created. Yes. So like you know that we have a five fingers, but all the five fingers are not exact the size in our palm. Let's say they're standing on the ground. So give him like the guy from five guy from the particular one country from but the different part of the country, like some of are from the seaside, some are from the mountain guys, some are from the desert, the body structure they have, and based on but top of that the kind of attitude, and fatty guy who eat lots, but he don't want to like run and throw, he just happy with like a sniper guy, using long bow arrow, and he's happy with that. Those sort of you can add basically the silhouette, the shapes of body, and giving importance to the character. Main guy, okay, start put it in a center definitely, or backside, giving enough importance. Based on that, you have to scale up and down to give importance to other characters by secondary and the rest of the guys, something like that. But silhouette and the height and proportion, you can define them. They will look definitely different, and give enough attitude, partially share the attitude. It's not only one guy importance in that team, like the four have importance, character play in that game, but you cannot make one guy like more prominent and the main, but giving equally distribute the attitude and the power, the way they will look different. But yes, the silhouette definitely it's going to help in many games we have seen. Yeah. Yeah. So uh, what is your approach? Yes. So I think yeah. So no more questions. I think cool. So yeah, this is okay. Last questions. Ashwan Tota. When creating a character for a game, do you think about specific characteristic versus doing the same character for an animated movie? Definitely, because animated characters are very static. I mean, it's non-interactable. Just sit down and see how they're acting. But yeah, animated characters are more animatable. You need to add more acting and the kind of facial expressions more than the game is more about action. They're not stand and they talk about that whatever happened in there or whatever. So more animation needed in the character. That means you have to define properly everything. For the game, it's all about the shape and the action and the representation of that character. Yeah, that is they have like really a lot of Prasenjit Mondal, what makes a good video game character? There is no particular theory, like for this. There are, again, as I said, like from the starting my slide, if you have all the required information in that character, particular that character, or if it is portrayed that if he character represent exactly the way you wanted to do it in the game, so that is a good video game character. There is no particular. Nobody can say like lot of games the character or art was not that great, but it's all about the gameplay. So yeah, exactly. I mean, you cannot say that it's a good character or a bad. I mean, if you can make it, is going along with the game, the story, and definitely it's a good character. So it's not the visual appearance, it's all about how he blending with the game, how he's reacting to your actions, your call. So that is all about. Yeah. Thank you. Rohit Srivasan, your character design was editor for a concert, and if the designer doesn't like the artwork footage, it won't be very frustrating how to get this from the design. That's what I said, Rohit. We don't do this the character I have shown you, that is not a illustrator or final render. That is like in a day I can render those sort of characters too. So if my initial sketches and thumbnails as ready, line artwork, then I this kind of approach I can do a too. So instead of doing final rendering or final detailed art, if the designer or team, they look at that, they will look at in that situation, right? They don't know how much time it took, how much labor you have put it in to create that. So they also know it's not looking good, then you will get frustrated. So keep it loose and like rough. Tell them this is work in progress and this is not the final, and they do understand it. They don't ask for the detailed design, they don't ask for the class, like shiny looking clean artwork, but they just look for the information, that character is giving enough information or not. So that's help, and you won't get frustrated for sure, because I've seen many artists, even I did in early my career. For the simple things I take 2 days to design, and when I go there already deadline is gone, and they got really frustrated. They said no, this is not working. So to chop that, to avoid those situations, it's always better to have lot of rough, present them time to time, keep discussing with them, so that in the end they should not say this is not working. Okay, thank you. So, okay, so that's it. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Jane, Arjun, and for giving me opportunity to talk about my experience, the way I design my character, my thought process, and everything. And it's really enjoyed while explaining this. Actually, I recall a lot of things, and like I should have, I should have, like keep note of all this. Yeah. So thank you everyone, whoever joined, and it was a really nice session we had, and it was a great questions from lot of guys, and also I take some of things. I'll keep it in mind, and I'll also follow the same in the future. Okay. Thank you everyone, to stay safe. Bye bye.